I got it, you got it. We do have a forum now that Deb Johnston is here. We've got Deb and Lisa, Al and Kitty. Okay. Right. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. And anybody like to move the reapprove the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. And is there any public participation? There's somebody, yes, okay, seeing none, we will move on. It's been quite a while since we've met. And the draft minutes are in the packet. And give everybody a few minutes to review that.
I read my mind, so I can make a motion to
Okay.
approve the
Thank you.
minutes.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. And so then, old business, we approved at the board meeting, I believe it was in, approved the code of ethics for the board as well as the fiduciary responsibility statement. Guys, and I just put that to be put in the packet just as a review, because I'm going to discuss it when we get into the part about planning for the committee work for 2025. I'm not asking you to make changes to it. I just wanted to include it in the packet because the code of conduct, I'm sorry, the code of ethics, the code of conduct, and fiduciary responsibility have not yet been placed in the bylaws, which is something that we need to do when we do the bylaw review. So do you need me to review anything with the code of ethics and the fiduciary responsibility, or are you content with how it's stated? Are you clear with it as stated?
I'm good.
Okay, right, so we don't need to review.
So this has not been gone to the whole board for approval to get into the bylaws. Is that what you're saying?
No, we did approve it. It just hasn't been added to the bylaws.
The whole board approved?
Yeah.
And that was done in the March board meeting, is that correct?
I'm not sure which meeting it was, but it was approved, because I was surprised that we didn't have a big discussion about it, but yes, the whole board did approve it.
I remember just making sure. So
Oh, okay.
it should be in the bylaws now then, right? I know it's not, because I read the bylaws again. Thanks for bringing it.
Oh yeah, that's why I asked for it, because I wanted to see what was in there. It doesn't look like it's been added, at least not what I have.
Do we know what the procedure is to putting them in the bylaws?
I'm trying to remember the discussion, but I thought we had some discussion about a few things that probably should change. So maybe you're telling us that we're just done with it, and if so, that's fine. But I do see some things that I think should be changed for, I think it should be put into regulatory language. And so when you say somebody should do this or that, that's advisory, that's not mandatory. If you say you must do this or that, that's a different. That's a
We
different.
did have that conversation, and my recollection is that we had that conversation at the board meeting. My recollection may be faulty, but I remember having that conversation, whether it was the board meeting or governance, but I thought we had it at the board meeting. You brought that very same thing up, and I thought we approved it based on subject to the language changes that you propose.
So I'm looking at this now, I would recommend quite a bit of rewriting, but I'm not even on this committee, so tell me just to sit down and shut up, and that's fine. But I do see some things that I think should be changed in this.
Well, what's in the minutes was that you agreed to update the definitions and provide with the revised version to be presented at the upcoming board of directors meeting. But we did approve the code of ethics, the code of conduct, and the fiduciary responsibility at the board meetings. So the changes that would be made would not be, my understanding would be, it's a language thing. It's not a content thing.
Correct.
'Cause I really don't.
I'm saying some language that I think should be changed.
I'm sure.
Yes.
So, I think that's fine, Hal. I think this has been approved the way it is right now. Let's make these verbiage changes. And then when we go into 2025's plan, then we can make those other changes because every year we review. And then I'm sure Deb probably would go along with that too. I think we should just get this done in our bylaws now, and then we can review that in 2025 again. And we can do it at whoever your first governance committee person is. I mean,
Okay.
if you fine with that one, Trish?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay.
Of course, I'm not even on the committee.
Well, but you're on the board and I
can see the need to pragmatically get this moved forward.
So it's been approved. We're going to fix the language. So if you can work with whoever is our staffer on this, I think it's Suzette. Work with Suzette and Lisa, get the language fixed, get it in our code of ethics, whatever it is, language. And then next 2025, at the next governance meeting, then we can make any changes that we need. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not attached to any of the words in the policy or from the plan or whatever language we're going to use. It was just, that's perfectly fine.
So my problem is if we have approved this and it's not in the code of conduct right now, it should be, and to redo it again, and it's already been approved, and we just kind of really don't fall. I know we haven't met in this committee much, so. And then if I may ask Joe what his thoughts are on that.
Of updating of this?
Yeah, and you're okay with that plan?
Yeah, I'm okay with the plan. The one thing I saw when I was reading through the bylaws is for it to become a part of the bylaws, it needs to be approved by the CBJ assembly. So it has to go through assembly and have a resolution to make it part of the bylaws. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, it sounds like we did, that was a step.
That step was never taken. So after we go through, run it back through governance committee, get board approval, and then add it to the bylaws, send it to the CBJ for resolution. That way they become effective. If that makes sense.
My only comment about that is, since we have not reviewed the bylaws in 2024, and our intention is not to do the bylaw review today or in the next month, that if we schedule it for this second quarter, we will have gone a year with an approved code of conduct and ethics without incorporating it in the bylaws.
We can move it to first quarter. All of this is just suggestions. It was never, my intention when I developed this was it's a work plan. So if you had any inclination to change any of this, we certainly can. It's just simply, I know that one of the things we have to do is bylaw review. We have to do, because of the policy that the adjustment we made it to the code of ethics and the fiduciary responsibility, we have to do board education. We also have to do board education for other things as well. And then we also need to do a self-assessment in addition to eventually getting to the CEO evaluation. So my suggestion was simply that we have a work plan for something every quarter, just to be organized. By all means, it doesn't have to follow this suggestion, and it also doesn't have to include all these items. I mean, we could make changes too. So if you would prefer that we do the bylaw review in the first quarter, we can do that in the January meeting. If we set one.
That would be my preference rather than waiting having waited a whole year before we send it to CBJ for their approval. And Hal, if between now and then you would work with Suzette and Lisa so that we're ready to have that conversation, the conversation about the changes to the code of conduct and ethics, to the whole document that we're looking at, ready for the January meeting when we can discuss it in relation to the bylaws as well. So that we just have one package to send to CBJ, to the assembly for approval. If that
Okay.
works for everybody. And then I would just flip the fiduciary, the board education piece and the bylaw review, first and second quarter. That would be my recommendation.
Because we didn't have many governance meetings, if we have to have an extra one next year, you know, I think that, I know I personally, do that. Especially with training too, it's,
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, when I was working on this, minimally, I was planning on 4 meetings, minimal in 2025. You know, we can definitely meet in January. We can meet again in February too. So I'm open to whatever. You know, when we were planning governance last year, we were waiting on the CBJ attorney before we were going to do the bylaw review. And then that got pushed back. And then, of course, we ended up with the CEO search and everything. So I apologize for the lack of meetings with governance. It certainly wasn't my intention. But I do plan on doing things much differently this year. So I am perfectly fine with making the bylaw review for January, including these changes. I'm not going anywhere between now and spring, so I'll be in town. And then do the board education piece in the second quarter. Then are you okay with the third quarter focus being on the self-assessment process and then fourth quarter CEO?
I know too that it would be pretty important that we do some sort of board retreat this year too.
Yes. When do you, yeah, that was the other thing. We were also planning on doing that. So kind of came in there.
So we could probably maybe put that on the agenda for January, as we discussed at the January.
What's your thoughts about when you would like to do that? What month?
Or defer to Deb on this.
I would like it to be sooner in the year, personally, sooner in the year than later, because we will have at least two new members to the board. There are 4 seats up right now, Al's and mine, and the 2 that were vacated.
You guys coming back?
We both applied. We're assuming assuming that we'll be back. But it's out of our hands. So we're assuming that we're coming back.
Okay, good. Well, good.
And I think that working with Joe, maybe to really come up with a solid agenda for what we want to talk about with the retreat, whether we have a retreat in town or out of town. So I really think that that's something to work with Joe.
The text that was supplied to us is in the form of PDF. Wonder if I could just ask, I could have these documents sent to me in Word form. Then it's easier for me to propose some changes that I can draft you.
You thinking like February for retreat?
It would be great to have the brand new board members have at least a board meeting under their belt before we launch in. You know, 1 or more board meetings under their belt before we launch into
for March? Or is February, okay,
February is fine with me.
that's what I was thinking too.
I would, well, I'm going to fess up here, if I may, that I mentioned it to you and Joe at our meeting on Wednesday. When we have the conversation about the board training, a board training about the responsibilities and duties of a board, I would like to invite the foundation board to join us for that meeting. It's my understanding that they've had, certainly Maria said not since she has been in the position she just left, have they had a board training, that type of board training. So if it's okay with this group, we can invite them for a subset of our, if we choose to have the board retreat here in Juneau. And if we have that piece of the board retreat at the beginning or the end, invite them for that. They don't need to be here for the entire board retreat, but anyway, I volunteered that without talking to anybody, so I'm fessing up now.
And I'm sure that piece also can, doesn't have to be part of the board retreat, the training. It just be a separate piece. And I personally don't know if foundation board president will even agree with it. So I sent him an email yesterday, and he didn't respond to me. So I don't know what's going on.
We can only invite, they don't.
Who is that before?
No, it's the same person. Kevin Hansen's the
Oh.
president. The new board president or the new CEO. I don't know if they've announced it yet.
Is there any additional work that anybody can right now foresee that you would like us to work on this year, other than these topics that I already listed?
Sorry, I keep talking here. So I would really like to get some input from Joe. Maybe he can think about this. So I know today's, I don't want to put you on a spot like this, but like maybe in February or January, our first January meeting, maybe Joe could have some ideas for us on what we'd like to happen.
She laid it out pretty well. I have some ideas in the retreat. I'll discuss it with Lisa as well.
I know he had some really good ideas.
Yeah, we've chatted about
Yeah.
it a few times.
So make sure that we don't drop the ball.
Yeah, I think I've chatted with people on it.
I think it's a great idea.
Does anybody have any thoughts about the location of this retreat? We prefer to stay in town. It is February after all. Why is it?
One of the pieces we were chatting about, so with Virginia Mason and some of the partnerships we're trying to build with them, they do have a board member that specializes in kind of board training. So
Oh, that'd be
I
wonderful.
was trying to chat with them to see if we get access to that person. So flying them up versus flying us down, trying to make it convenient with them. So as we start working on that, that might kind of drive how we do it, I think.
Well, and that's fiscally responsible, and it's also weather issues, heavy rains and pleasant.
We also had related to that was a conversation, a potential conversation between the board and Virginia Mason about affiliation options. Without them becoming a contract hospital manager or anything, but just the types of the access that we could potentially have as a hospital in affiliation with Virginia Mason that doesn't change our authority or governance. So if that's the case, potentially, we would be bringing together more than one person from Virginia Mason, that the person that would go through the board training plus whoever would be chatting with us about the specifics of what type of services that we could gain. GPO?
Yeah, there's GPO options, there's a whole list of things we're potentially partnering on. So what I would suggest is I can sit down and have another conversation with Tom, try to list out some of these things, bring back kind of options. And talk about how you want to do the retreat, right? What the different pieces are. So it should be, some of it could be education, some of it business. The part that I don't understand is if we start having business conversations, does it violate that open meeting act in any way?
Well, no, because we'll invite, have to, if it's here in town. we have to
If it's in
invite
town, we just have to open it up.
it. And then too, also, this is not just going to be governance, we're going to have to incorporate planning involved with this too, so. It'll be
Yes.
planning, it won't just be a governance retreat, it'll be a planning retreat as well, with strategic trips, strategic, talks on it, so. It'll be a full gamut of things, so you won't have to do.
Do you think this will be a one-day meeting? Or both, just one day, not two?
I think 4 to 6 hours.
Well,
That's up to Dan, what you say. That would be my thoughts.
it depends on the content. I could see a longer day if we have a broader business discussion and the training piece of it. Shorter day if we,
Yeah, if it's in February, we'll have kind of our strategy. I can go through a presentation of that, and we'll have that back out, so that'd be a good day for that too.
I don't think, do you think it'd be 2 days or just 1 day, right?
It'd be nice to crunch it into a single day.
Yes.
yeah, I would be, if they come here, we go there, whatever the rest of, whatever the outcome is, I would say, whoever it is comes up the evening before, have dinner, and fly out the next day.
Okay. A Saturday meeting, what you're thinking? Saturday, come on Friday night, okay. Right. Is anybody, we ready to move on? Okay. Does anybody have any other comments or questions?
Just a quick question. In preparation for our meeting in January, do we need to get together and we'll kind of outline some of the changes that we already know that need to go into this, so we just have something to discuss versus trying to map it out.
Yeah, I'd like to meet with you in December.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a need to reach out, coordinate a time where you sit down. I read through these, and so I already know that there's some changes where I want to make.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, we can look at it are you going to be here between the two holidays or are you?
Yeah, between the two holidays,
That sounds good. We can do that. And, any other comments? Thoughts? Anything? I would like to meet in January before the January board meeting. In the governance meeting. Can you tell me what day is the board meeting?
In January, it should be the 28th.
So if it's possible, could we do the January meeting after the 17th?
So the week of the 20th through the 24th. Do you have a day preference?
I may be gone.
Oh, you really are? Oh, okay.
You have time the whole week?
Yeah, it's the training. Sorry,
You're going 3 days.
3 days. Yeah, they haven't pinned down the specifics yet, but that's part of that week I'll be gone.
We'd be going at the beginning of the week or the end?
I think it's,
I think it's the end as well, but I think you're gonna have to fly on the 22nd.
The
I think
21st?
the 20th. Is that Martin Luther King Day? Yes, it is.
Yes.
And it's inauguration day too. How about the 21st?
It works for me.
I just don't know. Once she pins down that conference thing, you know, the day might change.
So that's when, so,
Yeah,
I would, yeah, yes.
If we could meet in the
And you want
morning.
to, it has, for you, it has to be after the 17th? Is that what you said?
Because we could meet in the morning of the 21st. In case you travel.
yeah, we do the 21st. I just have everything outlined. And if I'm not, absolutely can't make it. I can sit down with you and then just make sure everything's coordinated.
Um, 8 a.m.,
7?
7's fine,
7 works for 7:30.
7:30.
7:30, be done by 8:30.
Will we be done by 8:30? If we're going to discuss the bylaws?
I think we have it all laid out and just go through the section by section that we're going to change.
Are you talking about 7 to 8:30 or 7:30 to 8:30?
7:30. But like he says, if it's all laid out, it's all, you know.
When we get it on, we got time, there's time to review. You know, just go- If everyone comes just prep, I think an hour should be sufficient.
And then we'll meet in December.
Yeah.
And get things ironed out and you'll have what you're gonna work on. Hopefully we'll just be ready to go, all of us. We can get through it quickly.
Send the Word document out of bylaws ahead of time, redline it,
Yeah,
and then
that's the newer track changes version that we set it up that way, so it's easy to see what we changed. Some of the stuff we've already gone through, like executive committee, it really says it's still in there. There's other committee stuff that we considered.
Which we'll be talking about at this, start the conversation about the committee structure at this upcoming board meeting. It's on the agenda as a new business item.
And then when will the new board members be seated?
Yeah, they're gonna be appointed like between 6 and 28 of December.
The dates they were waffling on were the 17th and the 19th. Since we have a board meeting on the 19th, we're going to try for the 17th.
There's potential.
That's when they're interviewing the candidate.
Well, yeah,
And then they select it the same day. I think.
that's what it says on their calendar. Yeah.
I mean, that's both times that I've been appointed. I get to call later in the day.
Yeah, that's what they said. So if they do it the 17th, we should know by the 19th.
Anything else? Okay. I need a motion to adjourn, or can I just adjourn? All right. Thank you, guys.
so how do you feel as though that we-
It depends on.
on the dashboards and everything with George, and they will.
Sir,
give us
we check.